Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Carlin and I am an Assistant Director of Special Education in Hays, Kansas. This is my second year as an administrator. Previously I worked as a school psychologist for 7 years, of course 9 years total in education. In addition to working for Hays, I also worked for the Oakley Special Ed Cooperative for 3 years and the Dodge City Cooperative for 1 year in my first year in education. My career interests center around positive behavior interventions and supports and social emotional learning. An interesting fact, I authored a children's book on teaching social emotional learning, social emotional skills to kids, as well as a chapter in a textbook on scientific writing and psychology. I'm married, I have 2 kids, and I'm an Army veteran. My goals out of this class and my goals and purpose in wanting to become a district administrator. I'm actually moving into a director position in July, and so this will be my last class moving towards that. My goals are to bring long-term stability to my co-op. Over the last 6 years, there have been, counting me next year, that I'll be the 4th in 6 years, the 4th director in 6 years. And so I want to bring long-term stability. As a part of that, because I want to stay here a long time, but my main reason I want to get into district administration in the next point is I always look for having a greater impact on more students. And so if I'm planning on being here long term, the way I'm going to have that greater impact is by developing more leaders in education. And so one of my goals is to develop more leaders, more people who go on to become special ed directors or principals or other education leaders. And again, the reason for that, I'm always looking to have that greater impact, but my other reason for wanting to get into district administration is wanting to foster independence in our students as well as in our staff, whether it's our paras and helping them be able to do more things independently, or helping our teachers be able to do and have a greater impact on other areas that maybe they can't right now. As far as trends that I've noticed, one of them that I've noticed is an increased focus on social emotional learning and trauma sensitive practices. The reason I think that has come up is there's a greater student needs, but there's also a greater understanding of what works. And so when we know what works, we do more to we try to get current practices to align with that. And I think that's what's happening a lot through redesigned schools, as well as other schools of character and other things that have been going on. Another trend I see is reframing the schedule and the time that we spend with students. And I think that is mostly because districts and schools are starting to realize that we have control over certain things that can have an impact on kids. And just because it used to be done that way doesn't mean it always has to be done that way. And looking at the problem in a little bit different light and getting us to actually revamp some things that had been static for a long time. And then the last thing I've noticed is that professional development is becoming a lot more personalized. I see a lot more district in-services or regional in-services where people kind of get to pick what they go to, and there's a whole lot more choice in what they do. And even when they make it to a session, within those sessions, there's a whole lot more choice. In our district, we've developed a flexible learning experience where people can learn at their own time and take different paths through the learning that fit them in their position. And the reason I think that's coming along is recognizing that one size fits all fits no one. Professional learning, because each of us is at a different point in our career and are working with different kids, we have to access professional learning. We all have different needs in that area, so we have to find ways that we can meet the needs for more and more staff members. As far as things I want to learn more about, one thing I've noticed starting to bubble up is more talk about analytics. We see it a lot in sports, but really understanding what's the data that we have. I see the schools I've worked in the past, we have a lot of data, but we just drown in it. We don't actually use it in a meaningful way beyond just kind of surface level stuff. So I'd really like to dig into that a lot more, have a lot more meaningful use of data, and try and make sure that we're making the right choices, figuring out which kids benefit from which practices, and understanding how we can get those practices in place. The other thing I want to learn a lot about more about is instructional leadership. And ultimately, because I'm going to be working with about 74 different staff members and different whether it's teachers, school psychologists, occupational therapists, I want to be able to help move towards implementation of high leverage practices that will allow us to actually reach that independence that I'm striving for. Overall, that's a little bit about me. It's hard to do it in a short amount of time. If you have any questions, I'd sure be happy to answer any. Overall, I look forward to learning with you all, and I hope that this month goes a whole lot better than the last 3 have. So have a good day.